in a Star Trek related way, but I was just like, that is funny on its own. I don't care what anyone thinks.
It's like shit in the person. That's not in, is it?
All right, are you ready? Are you ready for this? Down. Yeah, that sounds ready to me.
Yeah.
Okay. And I heard, as it were, the noise of thunder, and a man saying, "Come and see." And I saw, and behold a pale horse, and his name that sat on him was Death, and hell followed with him. Hello everyone, welcome to It Ain't Broke. It's a crap chat show made by twats on the internet. I'm joined by Duncan Casey. Duncan, please do some stuff long enough for me to put your lower third on the screen.
Hello, I'm Duncan Casey, actor and producer and twat on the internet.
That'll do. Today we're reviewing Sam Furstenberg's David Bradley starring opus Cyborg Cop 2. Here is a clip, or clips, depending on what I can be bothered with when I'm editing. So, Duncan, I have overnight, poor Duncan, I messaged him last night and asked him to watch Cyborg Cop 2 so we could do this. Cyborg Cop 2 is one of my favourite kind of B movies for various reasons. You don't need to have seen Cyborg Cop 1, and you don't need to have seen Cyborg Cop 3, The Recycler, but you know, it's nice to be steeped in that universe. What did you think of Cyborg Cop 2 starring David Bradley?
Well, coming to it as I did in two parts, one last night falling asleep and then this morning over...
It's like when Channel 4 used to cut up Gone with the Wind over 2 nights.
Yeah, or put the news in the middle.
When
I used to do that. I was quite surprised at this lesser known entry in the Jack Ryan series. But
of course, yes,
which was confusing to me. But it was, you know, look, all right, it was hilarious as B. You know, it has all the perfect B moviness in it. It has a lot about it of the kind of things that we would watch, like some things like the. What is it, Justice League TV pilot thing.
Oh, right, yeah.
But it doesn't quite outstay its welcome on it, because I guess it's a film rather than a TV show that's like just going on and on and on trying to fill time.
You can watch it in its entirety on YouTube if you do want to go and do that before you watch the review. So, yeah.
But no, it was... I mean, it's shit, but it's fun. The thing I found...
Okay, thanks for joining us, guys. We'll see you next week.
The thing I found out about, like, it was obviously full of rip-offs of different things, including obviously RoboCop, Terminator 2, lots of imagery of Terminator, to the point where, like, I mean, I don't want to get into the reads just yet, but there's a bit, you know, where the kid, I was looking at him and I was like, he would have been a really good John Connor, because he looks a lot like Linda Hamilton, and then there's literally a scene where our hero, in a, like, leathers and, like, literally rides pretty much the exact same Harley, wearing shades, picks him up, puts him on the bike and delivers him to his mum or whatever. And I was like, oh God. So it's full of that. And when I looked at all, because originally when I was watching it, I was like, I wonder if this actually predates a lot of these things. And this is just something that, like, you know, got lost in the reads, but actually it's sort of a pre-RoboCop thing. Because I was thinking maybe this is like mid to late 80s or whatever. Nah, 94,
nope.
Bitches.
Nope.
Forrest Gump, True Lies. Cyborg Cop 2.
Oscar contender, Cyborg Cop 2.
Yeah. So how the fuck did you find this?
Where I find all my things. It was in a bargain bin. It would have come from one or two places. It would have come from either a petrol station or the bargain bin at Blockbuster, or the bargain bin at Choices Video.
Okay.
Because to me, my top drawer B movie to me is anything with cyborg or cyber or robot in the title, like, flies to shit.
This is a misleading title though, because there is no cyborg. I mean, he's a cop who, spoilers, tracks down cyborg.
Cyborg Cop 1 has more of a cyborg cop.
Oh, okay.
But I suppose you could call him a cyborg cop.
Yeah,
he's the cop that hunts cyborgs, which is a bit of a stretch.
But he works for the DEA, so technically he's a drug enforcement agent. So that doesn't make any sense.
So
damn those drug-dealing cyborgs.
Drug-dealing cyborgs.
Right, you order.
Get out of here.
Ryan, get in here.
No, Chief, I don't play by the rules.
Over here.
That fucking theme tune as well, played on like my first
bah, and there's the organ, the kind of organ music, the kind of spooky organ music.
And I thought at the end they'd like done that usual 90s things of getting some unknown rock or Frank Stallone or someone to sing a thing over the end. But no, it's just a more like version of the theme that plays all throughout.
So the film stars David Bradley, not that David Bradley, as Jack Ryan, not that Jack Ryan, who has to hunt Spartacus, not that Spartacus. It's like this. It's this compound fracture of
really
just
is.
reused stuff. So like David Bradley did. He did a film called Total Reality. Now, there's a B-movie director called Philip J. Roth, who I want to talk about one day, and he did Philip J. Roth's film Total Reality, which is like a time travel movie, which features the line, well, two characters, detectives called Smith and Wesson. It's genius. He also did some of the later American Ninja movies. He did rather a lot of stuff. He's quite prolific.
Yeah.
In this, what I'm driving at and what I really want to talk about is that in this, he plays Fonzie with a bum bag. And for our American friends, bum bag is what we call a fanny pack.
Or what you call a fanny pack.
Oh no, sorry, I got that backwards. Yeah, you call a fanny pack, we call a bum bag.
Because we wore them the other way around, I guess.
Because in our country, bum means arse, and in our country, fanny means vagina. So to you, a bum bag sounds like what you'd put a homeless person in.
Yeah.
And to us, a fanny pack sounds like something you'd carry a spare vagina in, or similar. But just so we're clear...
Or a pack of fannies.
They
Give me a fanny out of the pack. Fresh.
for fresh, but right from the fanny pack. It's like a box of fleshlights.
It's like the Rat Pack.
Yeah, Ocean's 8. Out now.
But comprised entirely of women called Fanny.
Fanny Adams. Fanny Craddock. Hard cut, no more fannies. So his costume, David Bradley's costume in this, I kind of think, bless him, because this really feels like...
It's more of a cliche, really, than a costume.
Well, yeah, he's dressed... It's pretty much exactly Fonzie, but why he wears a bum bag is just beyond...
It's sort of at the start, you know, when he comes out and he goes, I'm putting down my weapons, see? But he's got one hidden under his bum bag.
Under his bum
But
bag.
not even like in the bum bag or in a secret compartment around the back. The first thing the bad guy should be like, why the fuck are you wearing a fanny pack? Yeah.
Fanny pack detected. It's hard to be terribly intimidated by someone that looks like a cross between the Fonz and your auntie on holiday.
Or the Rock from that photo from ages ago that he still gets ripped on.
That's so on screen right now. That is so on screen. Yeah, it's weird. Especially from the DEA. He's called Jack Ryan like Jack Ryan. Because there are now 57 Jack Ryans.
Yeah.
And they basically RoboCop up some criminals. It's RoboCop 2 essentially, in that like his arch enemy gets turned into a cyborg. The thing is with it, I will say this, right? As a film, you know, because a lot of B-movie stuff is just sort of like, it's incomprehensible. It's kind of like badly covered, badly edited. This is like the quintessential Cyborg B-movie for me, because it's what I said earlier was, you can often say like, there's a simple story well told. It's a simple story.
Yeah.
It's a simple story adequately told.
It looked to me, for my money, it looked like a movie shot entirely by a second unit.
Yeah.
Which, when you look at, like, I think most of the performers in it are stunt people.
Yeah.
With it, you know, and the actor is not very good, and the script is not very good. But the coverage is really well done. Some of the camera work in it's very well done. They obviously like had a ton of petrol and bullets and stuff like that on hand, because there's a lot. Explosions seem to happen, and generally, if it happens to a good guy, they just get thrown through the air. If it happens to a bad guy, they die.
There is a lot of people getting thrown through the air.
Yeah.
I see what you mean about
Or
this
off
feels like a
balcony.
film made by stunt people.
Yeah.
And there's some shit going on. Like stuff blowing up, people going over cars, loads of ballistics and stuff.
Yeah.
There's I've got, I had some clips of this queued up where I got saved somewhere. And there's a bit where, because you know, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that this didn't get a theatrical release. So people probably watched it on tape. So, you know.
Cast and crew screaming.
Yeah, right, on tape. TV wheeled out of the corner.
Like at school.
They have this thing, so the four cyborgs, there are just four, aren't there? There's four cyborgs. Led by
Well, there
Spartacus.
seem to be a lot more after that, but yeah,
Okay.
supposedly. But then, like, they dispatch a ton of them, and then there's more.
There's a central quartet.
That's right. They're called the. Are they called the quartet, or they're called the?
Oh
They have a
God.
name, don't they? The I watched it this morning. It's something like that.
Anyway, what they do, so they dress kind of like plumbers. So they've got like these overalls and they've got like a hole in their chest, and they do this thing where they put their hand in the hole in their chest, and when they remove their hand, it has a weapon attachment.
Is that what was happening? Because I was confused by that. Because it seemed like he just put his hand in his jacket and came out with.
There's a couple of close-ups where he goes like, and it always looks really bonky because what it is, it's someone.
It's like a microwave.
By the time they take their hand out, it's someone just holding a thing.
Yeah.
So it's really long.
It's all really like pivots like there where it should.
So it's like it's a dart gun, it's a flamethrower, it's like a machine gun.
It's a Gatling,
like a little mini Gatling gun.
Yeah.
And there's a bit where one of the cyborgs kills a woman really early on.
Yeah.
And he shoots her with the dart gun.
But
right. If you watch it in high definition, there's just a fishing wire going, and you see the dart go along the fishing wire. It's just kind of like on VHS, no one would notice, but now these sins are visible in this day and age. So and they keep going. They use that over and over again. And there's a kind of like a wacky Three Stooges bit where he confuses the robot's vision, and they bump into it. Flares. Yeah. Which you'd think if you're sending something to a war zone and its weakness is fire.
Oh. I know. That I was watching. I was like, oh, they had to have a weakness, didn't they? And it wasn't explained. It's not like how he could have known that. But he stood there with a bunch of flares waiting for them, and he's like, because I guess Cyborg Cop, maybe the fanny pack told him. But the overriding thing for me with a thing like this is like, who is this for? Because there's a lot of swearing and there's a lot of tits in it, but it seems predominantly made for children. Like the kind of the scripting and the general setup of everything.
Well, it's that child insert. It's that audience insert character of the child.
Yeah.
And it's like, this kind of notion he feels like it could be for kids, and yet it's kind of like Hudson Hawk. Yeah. It doesn't have a child character in it, but like Hudson Hawk, which is a work of complex genius. Hudson Hawk has this kind of wacky knockabout kiddie sensibility, and yet it's got swearing and blood and it's quite nasty. Yeah. Whereas this is a similar thing. Like it feels like, I think now it would probably be like a 12A, wouldn't it? Well, I've actually got lots of swears.
It's got lots of swears. It's quite bloodless. There's only one or two. There's a bit where he shoots his partner at the start. The bad guy shoots his partner. And you sort of see a spray of blood out from behind his head, but otherwise, there's people get shot and they fall off balconies a lot. There's a lot of that, like, oh.
It's like they bought loads of B-roll from the A-Team.
Yeah,
just people falling off shit over and over
again. Yeah. Everyone seems to die in a sort of Roger Moore.
Roger Moore.
He fought
in the Boer War.
Hello, I am Roger Moore. Apartheid. Can't
no.
No, but it's weird. I mean, it's one of those things where I go, I have to enjoy this because I can't, you can't watch this and be like, what the fucking happened, and like, it looks rubbish, because like clearly it's meant.
It's kind of weird. This is the kind of thing, because a lot of this stuff, I could have picked a ton of stuff. Right, that just makes no sense and is irritating and is overlong. Like, don't get me wrong, big patches of Cyborg Cop 2 are quite boring. It's just like, it's got a weird consistency to it. In that, like, okay, the effects aren't great, but they keep a baseline. And it's this thing of all the robots look the same when they have the hand thing. Yeah. And it makes sense. It's got a beginning, middle, and an end. Yeah. It's just like, I can't get my head around David Bradley's character. Because what it feels well like if you gave a bunch of kids £500,000 and got them to plan a movie, and then you went out and made it. Yeah. Because it's sort of like, he's cool. Why is he cool? He's got shades. What else? Leather jacket. What else? Jeans. What else? Cowboy boots. Okay. Motorbike. Yeah. And a bum bag. What? Yeah. No, a bum bag. Yeah. Okay. Good. He's got a bum bag. I can't get my head around that.
Yeah. No. I remember that when he like right at the start when he's like walking towards the thing with his hands up or whatever, and I was like, is he wearing a fucking bum bag? Why is he wearing a bum bag? Is he got one of those like artificial livers or whatever that he has to have because he's got cirrhosis?
Dialysis machine in a bum bag. It is the future.
Yeah.
Well, I guess.
Is that what makes him a cyborg? Because I was anticipating all through the opening. Right, the opening starts as much as the rest of the film does with like a guy driving a pickup through the industrial area shooting people. That's generally how most of the fights go down.
Yeah.
And I was expecting, I don't know why, I guess because the name's fucking Cyborg Cop, But I was expecting, like, at some point, like, when the police started showing up, it'd be like, we're pinned down, we need help, like, woo! And then we're like, out would come a fucking cyborg cop. But no, like, just out comes the Fonz with a fanny pack. And I was like, is he a cyborg? Like, initially I thought, maybe he's a cyborg. Like, maybe he's like some sort of Terminator dealio. But no.
Nope.
He's part man, part cool, all bumbag. He is Jack Ryan for some plagiaristic reason.
Well, it just feels that, again, I kind of view David Bradley in this as like a kid playing make-believe, so I just sort of want to I think I got half expected someone to give him a cup of cocoa and send him to bed. You're excited, you won't sleep.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Too much sugar. He's a martial artist, I gather. He seemed to throw some Aikido moves in there. He's a bit sort of...
There is no... Because he worked with Sam Furstenberg before, and I think it's on the latter American Ninja things, because like Sam Furstenberg used to direct for Canon, I think, and he might have even... Didn't do my research today, sorry. I think he might have directed one of the Break-In movies, I'm not sure.
Right.
But David Bradley is handy.
Yeah.
There is no question. And any other stuff, he does the high... Because, dude, man in jeans and a fanny pack, he does them high kicks.
Yeah.
Is it leg right up there? Oh, well, I just did a Nazi salute. Don't take that out of context. He gets a... He gets the leg right up there. I wouldn't say these things to his face. It's very unlikely to happen. I wouldn't say these things. He's probably sat out in Hollywood somewhere in front of his laptop, reaching into his fanny pack to get his phone out, book a flight to come and kick our asses. Right into that fanny pack.
Fanny packs are cool.
He doesn't sound like
Motherfucker. No, he doesn't.
He looks pretty cool, though. He does look cool. He's one of those people who sort of, he just like, his character does look cool and is cool, but totally doesn't belong in this film. It's like he would have been cool in like something else.
Happy Days.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of just doesn't. It makes very little sense.
It's weird, isn't it? It does feel like he's been transplanted in from somewhere else. So
Yeah.
It's this kind of strange Happy Days greaser 1950s thing. And then the bad guy Spartacus, not that Spartacus, looks like sort of, well, you said Max Headroom, I said Richard O'Brien.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like Headroom O'Brien, Crystal Maze fusion.
Yeah. I just think like you might as well have cut out all the swearing and just called it a kids' film. You'd have got away with it. You'd have got to a bigger market. I mean, because like the swearing's so unnecessary. It's like, I'm gonna kill fucking you, or like, you know. So,
There's some titties as well at the start.
There's titties, yeah.
There's some titties.
There are tatas, which is good, which is fine. But yeah, it's not a good film. What was I going to ask you? I mean, like the whole like process, the sort of cyborg procedurals, if you like, are quite bad. There's that thing when there's that scene obviously where he's talking about it, and it happens very quickly as well. It's like, oh, he's on death row, he's gonna be killed, and then suddenly like he beats up a load of guards in a thing, and then they bundle him into a truck in a prison that sort of like oddly looks just like the set that they then change into the kind of cyborg making.
Don't know what you're talking about, mate. All shot on location.
It's like prisons aren't just cages in a big room. They're like, I mean, they are. There
he is.
But
Duncan's never been to prison. Reckons he knows what prisons are like. Cages, just like shot on location in San Quentin. Yeah. And then they went to a real cyborg making house, which is what they're called, a CMH.
Yeah. But then
we're in the CMH.
We're the CMH, get down.
There are a lot of acronyms. What do they have? It's not counter-terrorist unit. That's not CTU. It's anti-terrorist group or something. ATG.
ATG, I think.
Is that it? Yeah. Terrorist group. They're a group. They get together on the weekends. But then suddenly he's a cyborg for some reason. They don't really show that happening.
They RoboCop him, don't they? And then it cuts to like the lab full of like these. But it's RoboCop 2. He's like Kane.
Yeah.
It's like the bad guys are now cyborgs or whatever.
But he explains. He goes like, he's like, we put a baseball cap on them, and inside are some lights. And so it's just like, oh great, so it's just going to be him walking around with a fucking hat and glasses on most of the time.
It's a baseball cap.
It's a baseball cap and shades is what makes it, and like a weird boot spray.
You didn't put something like in him. They make a reference to them not having willies. So I don't know, like how if it's just like a metal body because he's got those big like. You remember in Red Dwarf where they had those boots that walked them around the prison?
Yeah.
This big Frankenstein. They've got like big metal Frankenstein.
Well, because you
shoes.
see them lying there like without any clothes on, basically, and they've got one human leg, one.
Oh yeah, that's
because they've got that kind of robot. I mean, it looks like Crichton's body. Like it does look really shonky. But yeah, for some reason he's got one human leg and one human arm.
It's like the game Syndicate, where you could do that. You could make your person have one human leg, one human arm, or whatever.
Okay.
I think it's mostly fucking Universal Soldier, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because it's all the scenes of them in the lab and stuff, and it's kind of like Spartacus is basically like Dolph Lundgren in Universal Soldier, and he breaks out and goes nuts and goes after Ryan.
But then there's a stupid thing when they break out. There's obviously the guide wire knife in the back, the heart thing. But then there's also all the like I guess executives of that company have these bracelets, and this is big thing, right? And on them is basically a button that will shut down all the cyborgs. And so he gets the main guy, right, who's busy getting his rocks off in the cyborg room, which is weird.
As you would.
As you would. Takes his bracelet, and I thought, that's the bracelet. But then these other guys come in, and he's like, they will go like that, and he's like, drop the bracelets, and they do it. Because one guy goes to do it, and he rips his arm off and throws it away, and then the others are like, okay, and take them off. It's like, just press the button. Credits, like, you know what I mean? Save me some. Yeah, save me some fucking time. Like, no, they're all like, okay, and then he stomps
it's
on
the Robocop 2 where Kane's just controlled by one remote. I had one of my friends over the other day, and I showed her. Well, she wanted to watch Robocop, so it's in it, and I was like, yeah, sweet, that's the first one. And we know when they're kind of tracking him with the iPhone, you know.
Yeah.
She goes like, why don't they just shut him down? And I was kind of like.
Yeah.
That is, just like, okay. This is the 80s future before Wi-Fi, because Wi-Fi's ruined all these things. You can watch so many sci-fi movies now. You're just kind of like, dude, shut them down with the app.
Yeah,
I can turn my lights on with the app.
Yeah.
I can't. I'm poor, but it's like I can turn the lights on with the app. Like what the fuck? Just shut them off with the app. And it's like no, this is the 80s future. That doesn't exist.
Yeah. It's not a controller. It's just a tracker, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's. And then he defeat. I was waiting for. One of the things I wanted to see was how he defeats him at the end, because that's always a big thing, kind of big finale thing. But he basically runs around him, sticking bombs on him and throwing sort of not very good grenades. And then it's not his son, is it? Who's the kid?
He's the woman's son.
Oh, okay.
Just some kid.
Jeffrey Womanson comes along and like gets a magnet basically and sticks him to that, and then drops him on
Robocop 2 style again.
Yeah, and then drops him on some pylons or whatever. And then he puts it out with there's like gasoline or something. He pours on him, which doesn't go up in flames even though there's fucking sparks going everywhere. And then he's like, this is for Jeff Partnerson. Wherever his partner
Ian Partner.
Ian 12 Days to Retirement Partnerson. Like, I never understand. This is a thing. Okay, here's a thing. Here's a trope, if you like, in film. They take the fucking Zippo, right, and they're like, this is for man's name on thing, like, and throw the lighter into the fire. It's like, isn't that a keepsake? Why don't you light something and throw that?
It's symbolic.
Yeah, he's like, ugh. And it's like, right, you're not getting that back. The one thing you had to remember him by, apart from horrible memories.
Well, it was used to ignite the accelerant, so the fire department are going to keep it of evidence, whatever happens. It's going to be
exactly
charred and fucked anyway.
I'm pretty sure this was arson. And at the end as well, they walk away from the power station, and it's like they're walking away from it, and obviously they run to get far enough away that then they can cut back to a miniature, a really bad one that blows up, like that looks nothing like the one they were at.
Don't know what you're talking about, mate. They blow up a real building.
And they're like cacao, cacao, and you just think, what? I don't know. It's really weird. And then he walks off into the sunset with the woman who's sort of ambiguous as to whether or not she's really good or not.
Yeah.
I don't know. She's just hot. That's all that matters. And then, but see, people like that in real life, if I walked around A with a fanny pack on and B dressed like the Fonz, I mean, I guess it's the equivalent of me walking around now dressed as...
Well, if you had a shell suit and a mullet or something.
Yeah.
It would be like, people be like, what the fuck?
Yeah, and then and cracking wine.
If you turn up to a crime scene in a shell suit and a mullet driving a Sinclair C5, that's what that would be like, with a massive phone and like a Casio watch.
They'd just be like, I got this. And it was like... if someone talked like that in real life, that doesn't happen in real life, right? It just doesn't. It's like
Oh, marvellous.
there's no renegade cops. Trust me, I know. I'm very close to a cop. Put it that way. You don't. No detective walks in the morning and goes, "That's it, chief. I've had it. I'm getting it." Like jumps on.
Get in here.
Get in here. Jumps on a motorbike with no helmet and rides off out the fucking
True.
You know what I mean? You would get away with that. Like, you just.
Well.
How is it?
I think we're probably at the end of the road with this one anyway. About 25 minutes. So.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, 25, okay. Yeah, 25 all the way around, so we'll take it to the end game. Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, I've wanted to talk about this for ages. It's such a strange film. It's one of the most consistent, watchable B movies. It's funny because it falls between two stools. It's not kind of bad enough to be hilarious, but it's kind of bad enough to be worth talking about. It's not like The Room, but then it makes sense, but then it is kind of shitty enough. It's charmingly shit, I think is how I describe Cyborg Cop 2.
It's one of those, like, if you were to get into a B movie, like, look, I mean, I've watched enough by virtue of, hanging out with you, and that's not a lot, probably, by this sense. But
Tip of the iceberg, my friend.
Yeah, but this is it's not bad. Like, honestly, like, I was really impressed with some of the camera work's quite good. Like, they get really nice movement in the camera. There's lots of but like I said, I'm sure it is pretty much a bunch of second unit people got together and made a film, because it's the coverage of all the action and stuff like that is very much like you would expect from a film of the era. And the action is all very much the same. It's like you say, it's all springboardy jumps off away from explosions, and
There's some pretty wicked stunts in it.
there's some awesome stunts in it. But it's kind of like with no artistic flair. It's just
It's
covered.
boilerplate, isn't it?
It is.
It's very workmanlike.
Yeah. And that's not a bad. I mean, like, if it's like, I don't know how best to describe it. I suppose it's like if you've got a team like that who's not under the guidance necessarily of like a director like Cameron or anyone, they're not. These action set pieces aren't really telling a story. It's like whatever his name, Jawline Chadwickson. What's his name?
David Bradley.
David Bradley or Jack
Bradley.
Ryan.
Not that Jack Ryan.
Travels to place, has a conversation. Travels to next place, has big fight. Like, someone gets away, he goes the other way, and then he travels to. And there's lots of shots of him in his motorbike, traveling at a suspiciously slow rate because he's trying to keep up with the camera.
It's like the Team America kind of. Oh, I love the camera track on his bike.
Yeah.
Because there's bits at the end of takes where you can tell it's just like, fuck.
Well, it's like the bit, especially at the end. Is it at the end where he's going? It's like, I know where he is. I'm going to the whatever mill to get him.
Yeah.
And he's like, and he rides off, and then it cuts to him traveling, and he's just going at a really leisurely pace.
They love showing him, and it's one of these weird things. I don't know if the lens or whatever, but when he's riding from a distance, he looks really squashed.
Yeah.
It's like they filmed it in a funhouse mirror. He's just like this squashed, flat version of himself.
And the bit where he picks the kid up and puts him on the bike, it's done in slow mo, but it's like it's almost done. It almost looks like they filmed it at that, like it was pretend slow mo.
Which I can believe.
It almost looks like it. I don't think it is, but it's just like they are not travelling fast. Because they can't afford like a stunt kid.
A stunt midget, like in Terminator 2. Yeah. Little person, I shouldn't say midget.
That's
very nice.
We'll get letters.
We get letters.
Small
mailbag.
Small letters.
I just did that in an Irish accent. Fucking hell.
From the Irish as well. Right!
Jockeys.
I represent...
Jockeys.
I represent the Irish Little People Society. Not... hashtag not jockeys. I find this offensive. Anyway.
I think we're done here. We are running out of time, sadly.
Yeah.
And I'm not just backpedaling because I'm scared. There you go. That's it. No more Cyborg Cop 2. I hope you enjoyed it. You go watch the whole thing now for free on the YouTubes if you're thus inclined. I have it on DVD, issued once again by those giants of the DVD labelling industry, Hollywood DVD, with the red band of quality across the top of all their releases. We will be back next time with another thing on the internet. Bye, Duncan.
Bye, Richard.
Bye, then.
Like, pull out a other hand.